Hey guys, Brady Crocker again. I'm doing an addendum. These have been in for 2+ hours. Look, the bones are already coming out, which is just fine. Now, if you notice, this is actually a really thin gravy. So I'm going to use a little hack from Chef John Pierre. You just look him up on YouTube. He's the best. What I'm going to do, and I thought this was longer, but it's not, and I don't want it to melt. So I'm going to have to rig it a little bit. What I'm going to do is I made a roux, as I told you I would, using the leftover flour and some of the fat from the ribs. And it's nice and brown. It's basically peanut butter colored. So if you can't see it, now you can. And the easiest way to mix a roux in to something like this is to put it in a sieve. And if you don't use cooked roux, and this is cooked, but if you don't use a cooked roux, you end up with a big mess. So you just kind of dip it into the gravy, and I'm just going to stir it until you can see it's starting to break up, and it will, because while this isn't boiling, it's really hot. If I turn the heat up to 5 or 6 on this, this thing would be boiling. And if you put in just raw flour or even a slurry, what would happen is you'd end up with a big glop. You'd have to cook it, and you got to keep stirring it so that it goes through the strainer. And it takes a little bit of time, not much, but it's already smoothed out. It looks just almost caramelish. This is a great hack. And because you've got that liquid that comes up through the strainer, stirring it through with the whisk and pushing it works great. See, now I just go on the back side, stir some of that off, and we go back in. It smells so good, people. I wish I could tell you how good it smells. Alright, that's pretty much all of it. So yeah, that's a little hack from Chef Jean Pierre. Everybody who likes to cook should go watch him, because he might be the funniest dude on YouTube, and he has 50, 60 years of experience, and he gives you common sense technique as well as classical kind of French and even some Italian. Alright, remember I said I was gonna cut up some whites from bok choy and from scallions. These are going in now because they don't need that long. I'm going to put this on for another half hour-ish. Give that a quick stir. And I wish you all could smell this, but like I said, I mean, just look at these ribs. They are literally falling off the bone. I didn't have to do anything. I just plopped them in the oven. I'm gonna let this sit on a low, this is low heat, it's on 3 right now, just to stir in case there was any flour clumped up any of the roux. Shouldn't be. No, I think that's good. I don't see any on the tongs. And I always leave the glove on top of the lid because you can't tell if it's hot. Trust me, it's hot. And so now this is going back in the oven. By the time this is done, that meat's going to come off the bone. And when it goes back in, that gives me more than enough time to make my rice. Which is going on right now. Okay. And this is a Japanese style rice. I soak it, and I used not only the leftover flour, but a lot of the leftover broth to make the rice with. Then you cover it, or this is how I make it. Once it comes to a boil, I set the timer for 17 minutes. After that, I take it off the heat, I cover it with a towel, and put the lid back on and move, off the heat. And let it finish cooking that way. It's great rice every time. Janine will attest to that. And that's it. Bready Crocker out.